Andy, first of all, I might just ask, how's Craig Casey doing? There was a long stoppage, obviously, and a lot of treatment for him. How is he at the moment?
He's concussed. He was still on the trolley when I came in at the end of the game, so obviously they was concerned enough, but he's up and walking around. Not quite himself yet, but he's up and about and wondering what's going on.
Glad he was up and about. In terms of the match itself, what are your initial thoughts of I suppose it was a topsy-turvy game, particularly in that last quarter?
Yeah, it had a little bit of everything. The unexpected was popping up at times, wasn't it? And that was the game in the end. But I mean, in the call out today, I thought South Africa deserved to win the game. So congratulations to them. The first half, I thought we was off. I thought we'd give away access for them to be able to play their game defensively. We was a bit passive, certainly for the first try. But then the story of the game for me, after some words at half time, was I thought it was courageous at times how we defended and got ourselves back into the game. In fact, you know, it's the makeup of this team, and you know the history would say that even with the type of performance in the first half, we hung on in there and we don't go away. You know, there's plenty of teams that would have been under the pump in the first half like that and got the game run away with in the second half, and we didn't. We stayed in the fight and could have, would have, should have at times. You know, with some decisions that rightly or wrongly didn't go our way.
Peter, what did you make of those decisions? Did you feel a bit hard done by TMO calls?
Well, it's not for me to say, is it? But I saw quite a few of them live, and I had a dubious thought about it. But anyway, that's life, isn't it? You know, it's we'll go through the right channels and make sure that we do things properly as far as that's concerned. I mean, you'll make of it what you want. We have to go through the right channels. Unlucky, lucky. That's the game as well.
Okay. There was just James Lowe looked like somebody who's been practicing his outfield work on the boundary, keeping the ball in play. It went against him, I suppose.
What did you think, Lisa?
Well, I just wondered, like, do you back him in those situations? The fact that he was trying to keep the ball alive and it backfired on him.
Well, I'm more disappointed with us. It was a special play by Colby to chase that ball, and it's one of the reasons why they won the World Cup, with him chasing down the kicker in France. But we were slack, not backing James up. You'll make your own decision of whether he still had the ball in his right hand or whether the ball hit him as he threw the ball back into field and his foot was in touch. That's for us all to debate.
Andy, does that stuff hurt more, that, say, that example, or some of the stuff you mentioned in the first half? It doesn't seem to be technical or tactical. Does that hurt you guys more?
No, Murray, it is what it is. That's the sport. It's difficult to referee. You just want consistency. That's all. You know, and you know, sometimes it goes for you and sometimes it doesn't. You know, I mean, you'll make your own decision on the Craig thing. I mean, on
your own performance.
Sorry.
The fact that you didn't win the scraps there off James's touch, or in the first half that you were a bit passive.
Yeah, you've got to make your own luck as well, haven't you? By covering all bases, and we know that they're a team that fights for those scraps, and we needed to be better in that instance.
The second, the one, you get to a point where you're within a score, they've got a new 10 on, he makes a mistake, and you compound the wrong word, but James makes it. The mistake as the ball's heading towards what would have been a scrum against 14 men on halfway. Is that a mental error? Is that, given the amount of work you put into your mentality and all sort of stuff, is it disappointing, and does it remind you a little bit of Twickenham when you maybe switched off in the end?
I wouldn't say, yeah, it's an error. It's an error, and I've no doubt that James will put his hand up to that. I actually thought, you know, It's fool's gold, isn't it, really? I mean, some of the kickoffs in the first half as well, Craig caught and we ended up 20 metres out from our own line. If you've got the courage to let it bounce, it probably goes dead, but at the same time, if it bounces up, you'll look stupid, you know? So we don't know what could have happened either way, really.
Peter, can I just ask you, just what was that like playing? What was your sense of the game? Because you hung on in there for a long time when you had a lot of ball and they were going wider than we've ever seen them before.
Look, it was an intense test match. I think Andy to allude to it. We were chasing the game a little bit, certainly in the first half, defensively. With the way they played a bit deeper and a bit wider. Some of our I think decision making around our defensive calling probably wasn't good enough, and then some of our tackling wasn't good enough either. So it was a hugely competitive test match, intense game, as you'd expect. But we were off in a few areas.
I remember in Auckland, you were interviewed on the pitch after that first test, and you were convinced that you could bounce back and win a series. Do you feel the same way now? I know you can't win the series now, but do you feel this team has it within it to bounce back and beat them next week?
Yeah, 100%. This team has a huge amount of character, and don't get me wrong, it's a tough place to come and play rugby. Of course it is, but I think we've all the football and tactical side of it. We need to make sure that we deliver it on the pitch.
I'll go back to Peter.
What do you think you have to do going into the Durban test to draw? Are there things that you would change?
Quite a bit, actually. I suppose the main thing is attacking the game the way that we want to do it, and not being desperate next week just because we've lost this week, because if that creeps in, then you become even more ill-disciplined, and I think discipline cost us. I know that the penalty count wasn't outrageous, but it's the way that we put pressure on ourselves and relieve pressure for them is what we need to address. And there's some great learnings from the first half that we put right in the second half. I think we was still not clinical enough when we had chances, certainly on the Springboks line. You've got to convert in big games like this, there's no doubt about that. And if you put things like that right, we were still in the game, so that says to you that we've got a chance.
Last question for the live section. Would you say, is Dan Sheehan a doubt for next week? That's a knee injury?
I'd say so, yeah. There's a few that we need to assess over the next 24 hours.